Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Amber Living Vlog. This is Beyond Film School, and I'm Amber, and today we're talking about the second assistant director. So just a reminder, if you are new to my channel, please remember to subscribe. Also, don't be afraid to use that PayPal link app if you are in support of what I do with Beyond Film School and how I try to bring these videos to you. Buy me a coffee, however you can. This is a way for me to gain income, keep making these videos for you. Talking about the second assistant director, this is the third video in the AD series, the assistant director series. We talked about the first AD and we talked about the second AD. Now we're talking about the second AD. What is the second AD? The second AD is going to be the extension of the first AD on set. They live on set. They're always on set. They should always be on set. Before we go any further about the second AD, that position title is mostly used in the US and in the UK, in India, in other parts of the world where they film. They usually have the position called the third AD. I think the US always wants to do things differently, but the reason why it's called the second is because you have the first AD, the second AD, and then you have the second AD. For the sake of this video, I'm going to stick with what I know, the second AD. We're going to stick with that title. The second AD is going to be doing the bidding of the first and second AD. They're making sure that things are getting done, they're enforcing, they're making sure that the PAs are doing the tasks that they are asked to do by the AD staff. Jumping into the responsibilities of the second AD. They're always on set. Like I said before, they are an extension of the first AD. They are the main mode of communication. A lot of the times, first AD will not have a walkie. They won't have surveillance in their ear. They will get together with the DP and the director. They figure out what's decided, and then they pass that message on to the second. They have to make sure that whatever the first AD says, whatever they need, it is actually aware and known crew-wide on the set what those things are. And that involves making sure everyone on channel 1 on the walkie are aware, all the PAs are aware. They echo the second, and therefore the crew will know because the crew is spread out and the PAs are supposed to be spread out. The messages go from the first AD to the second says it to the walkie, then it is spread out to all the PAs, and then from all the PAs to all the crew. So they are a vital piece in the communication puzzle that is film life. The second AD is keeping track of the moving parts. Where is cast? Are they out of makeup? Are they in hair? Are they out of wardrobe? Is cast traveling? Are the background changed? Are the background propped? Are the background coming to set? Is camera pushing over from the truck? Is sound moving over from the truck? Where is the DP? So all of these things are keeping track of. All of those elements. Outside of the first AD, the second is going to be the other person on set that knows everything that's happening. Or at least they should know everything that's happening. They are going to have a hand in making sure that things are put into action because a lot of things are set on set and they need, maybe the director needs 3 featured extras that maybe we just don't have, or they're in a different outfit. They put those things in action. They tell a PA, take this background, take them back to holding, get them changed ASAP. So they're putting things into action. So the first AD might be taking care of something that is not pertaining to the shot right at the moment. So when that happens, the second needs to make sure that they are keeping track of the set. They have to know what's going on. The first AD may be done with the side project. They're gonna come back to the second and be like, hey, where's cast? How many minutes till cast lands? Or, hey, where are the background? Are the background here? Are they set? Where's the director? The first AD is gonna have a lot of questions, and the second should be the first one to know all those answers. I talked about how the first AD is the voice of the set. Now, they are on set, they are speaking to people directly. Now, the second is going to be the voice of the walkie on channel 1. It is rare that a first AD will be on the walkie, but it does happen. They have a walkie to make sure that if they do need anything conveyed, that they're on walkie and it's ready to go. But a lot of the times they don't want to hear the chitter chatter that is happening on channel 1 all the time. So as you know, walkies are a very, very vital piece of communication on set, and channel 1 is for production, meaning all the ADs and the production staff. And there's some other departments also on channel 1, but we can get into that in a different video. Because the second is the voice of channel 1 on the walkie, they have to make sure that everyone is aware of what is happening, meaning, are we rehearsing? Is there a marking rehearsal? Did we cut? Did we roll? Did we check the gate? Did we move on to the next shot? Did we move on to the next scene? Did we complete the scene? Are we taking a penalty for lunch? Did we break for lunch? Are we wrapped? All of those things that you hear on set, the second should be saying in the walkie so the PAs are aware, and again, so the crew is aware. A nice, big part of what a second does is set background. They are in charge of helping run the background. So many things come up when it's background. I talked about how the second AD is the last line of defense when it comes to background issues. Now, their last line if the second can't take care of those things. Setting background. What do I mean by setting background? Setting background, you know, you have a scene and maybe you're in Central Park and your main background are going to be pedestrians. Maybe you have a jogger, maybe you have someone walking the dog. You have to make sure that you know the frame, and as a second, you are going to be giving the direction to the background actors that, okay, they're going to walk across now. You're going to be cueing background. You're going to say, okay, you have to make sure that when an actor goes in and out of the room that you have like a nice little cross background action happening. It's kind of like you're a background director when you are second, and it's pretty cool. It's really fun to set background. So let's talk about the PAs in connection to the second AD. The second AD is basically the PA's first boss. Now, the hierarchy, I know I've talked about this before, is going to be like a additional PA, then you have an everyday PA, you have a staff PA, you have a key PA, and then above that you're going to have the second AD. And they are really the person that kind of manages that department. Now, I know in the video with the second AD is that they are hiring the staff of PAs and they are delegating tasks. Well, the second's job is to know what those tasks are and make sure that those PAs are chosen to do XYZ things. They're really keeping the PAs accountable. They're confirming that that PA understands what they have to do, and they're confirming that those things were done. The main job of the second AD is to make sure there is no confusion on set at any time. Now, this is hard to avoid. Things happen, things get confused, interpreted in different ways. So it makes the job, actually, it sounds simple, but it's easier said than done. Their main goal is to make sure everyone knows what's happening and they understand what's happening and why it's happening and when it's happening. Let's talk about company moves for a second. I did not mention this in the last two videos with the first and second AD, but when I talk about the second AD when it comes to company moves, I really need to, because they are really supervising and managing a company move. Now, what's a company move? A company move is going to be when a whole company, the whole set, everyone, PAs, camera department, grip, electric, everybody that is working on that set, they go from one location to another location, meaning they're packing up the trucks and they're gonna drive off to another location and unpack them, and they're gonna start a whole new scene at a different location. When a company move happens, the first AD, cast, and director will go straight away. They go in the van, they get to the next set. Now, the first AD is working with the director and cast to look at the scene and maybe start a private rehearsal. Now, the job of the second at the exact same time that's happening is to make sure all the crew know that we are on the move, that we are packing to the trucks, and this is the location that we're going to. And they have to make sure that all the crew get to the next location. They're super vital in making sure there's no confusion in this whole company move. We want to make sure everyone gets to the right location in an appropriate time. Now we're getting to wrap out duties. What are the responsibilities of the second AD during wrap out? Camera's wrapped, people are starting to go home. What are they doing? Once camera is wrapped for the day, once everyone's done for the day, they are supervising the wrap out process. The second AD has to wait until all departments give their out times. And their out times are when they're off the clock and they're actually walking home. But they're walking off set, they're going home. So you may be asking, why does the second need to be there waiting for department out times? They are making sure that the departments are meeting their turnaround times. So the call sheet says 8 a.m. and they need to be wrapped by such and such time. So they have to make sure that they get their turnaround time. And each department has different turnaround time. SAG has 12-hour turnaround, camera has 11-hour turnaround, electrics and grip have 10-hour turnaround. So it changes. So we have to make sure that turnaround is valid and everyone's making their turnaround, because turnaround is that time to make sure that crew have enough rest between the time we wrap and the time we are called in for the next day. So in the event that a department doesn't meet their wrap out estimate to meet proper turnaround, what'll happen is that the second AD has to contact the second AD and let them know that that has happened, and also the UPM, because that'll affect the time they're in the next day. So they might have wrapped 12 minutes after their wrap estimate. That means instead of coming in at 8 a.m., they're going to come in at 8:12. And the crew and the first AD and everyone that's working the next day has to be aware that, okay, camera's going to be in 12 minutes later. On top of that, some shows have a cap. For example, NBC has a cap of 14 hours during a workday, and they have to make sure they leave at hour 14. Once they hit hour 14, they have to leave and they're done. They're maxed out on their hours. The second AD at wrap out is making sure that no one surpasses that 14 hours. And if it is impossible to meet that estimate or that deadline of 14 hours, then they have to contact the second AD and the UPM. So they're making sure that people meet their turnaround and that they don't surpass any type of caps that the show might have. So they're not leaving until all the departments are done and off the clock. While they're waiting for all the departments' out times, they're also checking in with the first team PAs, and they're checking the Exhibit G, making sure there's no mistakes on it, and then they sign off on it before it is submitted to payroll and SAG. They're also waiting for the background breakdown. So the background breakdown is a single sheet of paper that tells you the stand-ins, how many we had, the background, how many we had, when their lunchtime was, what their rate was, when their NDB, their non-discounted breakfast was, and any type of smoke pay or wet pay or props or any additional pay they might get for whatever they did for the day. And it's all on this one sheet, and that sheet is submitted to payroll and accounting. So they have to check that, sign off on it before the PA submit it to accounting. It is their responsibility to make sure those documents are correct. What they're also doing while they're waiting for the department's out times is they're contacting catering and they're contacting the casting company for background. They're contacting those two entities because the prelim call sheet might be different than the final call sheet that went out at the end of the night. It might be an 8 a.m. crew call for the prelim, but then the final call sheet says 9 a.m. So they have to make sure that the catering company and the casting for background are aware of those changes if the prelim changed. Even if the prelim calls didn't change and it stayed the same, they are confirming that yes, that is the time that we are going with. This is confirmed. After all of that is said and done, they have one more responsibility and they have to confirm the film drop. So what happens is a PA will take the film that is downloaded from that day and they'll take it to the post house. When they drop it, the PA is supposed to make sure they text the second and the second confirms that yes, that is the time that the film drop was dropped off. The second has a long day. They are the last AD to leave. Now I know I said in the second AD video is that they have a longer day than the first, which is entirely true. The second AD is going to be there way before crew call, so they can leave at camera wrap. Their ending responsibilities is calling cast to make sure cast is confirmed. After that is done, they don't need to stay after that, but they are staying after camera wrap for a little bit. The second AD is going to be there to the very end. Another person that stays to the very end is the medic, and the second relieves the medic from set. That's one of their last responsibilities, is letting the medic go home. So some people like to say that the second is a glorified PA, and I hate this because you have green PAs who are super new, you have staff PAs who are a little bit more seasoned and veteran, and then you have the second, which means that, yeah, they are the next step above PAs, but they have more responsibilities. They are responsible for a lot more, and they are responsible for the PAs. So it's like, for me, I don't believe that they are a glorified PA, and I hate this saying. They worked hard to get there, they worked hard to get where they are, and they did their 600 days on set and sometimes more, and even submitting their DGA book to get into the DGA is a task in itself. So anyone that's a second out there, I totally respect you, and I hate anyone that says that they're a glorified PA. As a second AD, being the extension of the first AD, you will learn a lot. If you didn't already, you will learn how to run a set properly. I want to talk about communication a little bit because earlier in the video I did say that second ADs deal in communication. They are there to make sure no one's confused. So communication is vital for them. They have to make sure that they're communicating properly. And communication really can break down if the second AD is not on their game and they're not up to snuff and they're not doing their job properly. A lot of the times PAs could be confused, crew members are confused, and when people don't know what's going on, it is almost directly pointing to the second for not doing their job properly. Sometimes what can happen is the second may have forgotten something the first AD said and they didn't convey certain information, you know, because second, they're doing so many different things that yes, things can kind of, you know, they can lose track of something. I should add this because if all is right, if everyone is on top of their game, then things will happen great. Then everything will run smoothly, and that's not always the case on set. The second's job is really to be the filter of the first AD. And what do I mean by that? So sometimes the first AD may be angry, impatient, stressed out, frustrated, anything, any one of those things, and it can knock them off their game. So if the first AD may be making a mistake, they are asking for something, or maybe they expect something that is not right, the second is there to kind of be like, uh-oh, no, this isn't supposed to be this way. So they're there kind of to correct the problem. And a lot of the times what will happen is that a second that is like kind of working blindly will do and convey and communicate everything the first AD wants, but then that first AD is wrong in some instance. You're kind of there and you have to make those judgment calls of like, oh wait, I know something to be this because the second AD told me this, which the first and second, when you're battling those two people, you're like, oh my God, who do I listen to? Because the first and the second are disagreeing on something, which totally can happen. So you're there as a filter to simplify the communication when it comes to the crew and the PAs. And that is not an easy job. As a first AD, I will say that on indie sets, I haven't had a second AD. So the second AD position is really for union sets. I mean, for indie sets to have a second, they got a real big budget. I haven't worked on a film or a project or anything that has a second. I mean, I would have loved their help as a first AD. So that is the video on second AD, the second assistant director. And next week we're gonna cover the additional second AD, which it's a little bit different, but you'll see that some of the responsibilities are kind of connecting to the second AD and how they have to work together. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to comment below, email me, all that jazz. Like me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram, Beyond Film School, and don't forget to hit up that PayPal link. That is it for now, and I shall see you guys next week.